Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alright, last class we done with the period of development. Today we're going to continue with part 2. Part 2 we're going to discuss on the topic developmental issues. So basically there are three issues in development. The first one is nature nurture issue, which is concerned the extent to which development is influenced by nature and also by nurture. So basically nature is come from the words natural, which is biological inheritance, and secondly nurture is referred to environmental experiences. So that is the first issue. And second issue is about stability or change issues. So stability or change is the degree to which early traits and characteristics persist through life or change. Whether it is stable and able to persistent throughout life, or the development is changing. And the third issue is continuity and discontinuity issue. The degree to which development involves either gradual, cumulative change or distinct stages of change. Whether the development is keep continuing or the development is stop to continue or distinct on continuation. So this is the topic on part 2 that we're going to discuss today. All right, let us begin. Developmental issues. Okay, so basically you can refer this on your ebook, on your textbooks regarding these developmental issues. These questions point to three issues about the nature of development. So the role played by nature and nurture, stability and change, and continuity and discontinuity. So let us look at the first issue. The first issue is nature and nurture. So basically the nature nurture issue involves that the extent to which development is influenced by nature and by nurture. Nature refers to organism, biological inheritance. Nurture to its environmental experience. So naturally means it's a biologically inheritance from one organism to another organism. All right, from the host to the um, to the children's, whereby nurture is changing because of the environmental factors. So according to those who emphasize the role of nature, just as the sunflower grows in the orderly way, unless flattened by unfriendly environment, so too the human grows in an orderly way. An evolutionary and genetic foundation produces commonalities in growth and development. We walk before we talk. We speak one word before two words. Grow rapidly in infancy and less so in early childhood. Experience and rush of sex hormones in puberty. Reach the peak of our physical strength in late adolescence and early adulthood, and then physically decline. Proponents of the importance of nature acknowledge that extreme environment, those that are psychologically barren and hostile, can depress development. However, they believe that basic growth tendencies are genetically programmed into humans. So by contrast, other psychologists emphasize the importance of nurture or environmental experience in development. Experiences run the gamut from the individual biological environment to the social environment. Right? So this is among the issues in development, whether the development the growth is due to biological, or it is due to environment. Biological refer to natural process. Environmental factors is due to nurture process. So if we look at the question that can stimulate our thinking on personality, how much does personality change as people go through the adult years? We speak about personality when you have certain trait of personality. So while you are going to another stage of life, from adolescent into adulthood life, how does it change? Is it due to personality? Is it due to environmental factors? Or is it due to biological factors? So this is among issues being discussed by the expert. And secondly, we discuss about stability and change. Either the development is stably developed or the development is changing. All right, so before we go to stability and change, let us look at this point. Nature and nurture issue refer to the debate about whether development is primarily influenced by nature or nurture. Nature refer to organism biological inheritance, nurture to its environmental experiences. The nature proponents claim biological inheritance is the most important influence on the development. The nurture proponents claim that environmental experience are most important. So which one is correct? So there are debate talking about development is influenced by nature. Another thought saying that the development is influenced by nurture. So these issues actually is irrelevant because of most of the human development cannot separate from two components, biological as well as environmental. So it is interrelated. There are connections between both biological as well as environmental factors. Okay, next, stability and change. Is it development is stable or the development is not stable or keep changing? Is the shy child who hides behind the sofa when visitors arrive destined to become a wallflower at college dances? Or might the child become a sociable, talkative individual? It's another question. Another question is the fun-loving, carefree adolescent bound to have difficulty holding down 9-to-5 job as an adult? This question reflects the stability change issue, which involves the degree to which early trait and characteristic persist through life change. Many developmentalists who emphasize stability in development argue that stability is the result of heredity and possibly early experiences in life. For example, many argue that if an individual is shy throughout life, this stability is due to heredity and possibly early experiences in which the infant or young child encountered considerable stress when interacting with people. Developmentalists who emphasize change take the more optimistic view that later experience can produce change. Recall that in the lifespan perspective, plasticity, the potential for change exists throughout the lifespan. So again, for those thought who saying that development is stable throughout all periods will claim that it connected between one period and another period, whereby for another thought saying that developmental is keep changing, unstable due to many factors will also emphasize, also will give their argument. Okay, let us continue about stability and change. So another um, expert argue that with increasing age and on average older adults often show less capacity for change in the sense of learning new things than younger adults. However, many older adults continue to be good at practicing what they have learned in early times. The role of early and later experience are aspects of the stability change issues that has long been hotly debated. Some argue that unless infants experience warm, nurturing caregiving in the first year of life, their development will never be optimal. The later experience advocates see children as malleable throughout development and later sensitive caregiving as equally important to early sensitive caregiving. So these are the issues in development. When we talk about changing on development, it refers to personality, refer to trait, refer to characters of the individual, whether it is stable or it is keep changing. So let's go to the next issues on development: continuity and discontinuity. Whether the development is keep going, keep continue, or the development is distinct, extinct, stop, or discontinuity. When developmental change occurs, it is gradual or abrupt. Think about your own development for a moment. Did you become the person you are gradually, or did you experience sudden, distinct change in your growth? For the most part, developmentalists who emphasize nurture describe development as a gradual, continuous process. Those who emphasize nature often describe development as a series of distinct stages. So there are two different thoughts on development. Continuity, they have their own argument. The development is keep gradually improving and keep continuing. Continuous process. Whereby another thought who's saying that development is discontinuity will describe development as a series of distinct stages. Alright, let us continue discuss this issue. The continuity-discontinuity issue focuses on the degree to which development involves either gradual, cumulative change, which is continuity, or distinct stages, discontinuity. In terms of continuity, as the oak grows from seedling to giant oak, it becomes more of an oak. Its development is continuous. Similarly, a child's first word, though seemingly an abrupt, discontinuous event, is actually the result of the weeks and months of growth and practice. Puberty might seem abrupt, but it is a gradual process that occurs over several years. In terms of discontinuity, as an insect grows from a caterpillar to a chrysalis to a butterfly, it passes through a sequence of stages in which change is qualitatively rather than quantitatively different. So whether that change is qualitatively or whether that change is quantitatively. Similarly, at some point, a child moved from not being able to think abstractly about the world to being able to. This is a qualitative, discontinuous change in the development rather than a quantitative, continuous change. All right, look at the picture. The tree. Continuity means they keep growing, they keep developing. The tree become bigger and taller and high. Whereby discontinuity, the caterpillar no longer become a caterpillar. It's transformed, become a butterfly. So again, if we discuss relating these issues in development, nature or nurture influence, stable or unstable or keep changing, continue or discontinue. So this is among developmental issues which they've been debated due to they have their own understanding and thought about it. But the things here is come back to us the question, which one is correct? If we're talking about the first issue, development is influenced by nature or development influenced by nurture. Infancy ability to talk, is it because of biological influence, genetical influence, or is it because of environmental influence? Which one? So you need to think and answer. On second issues, stable and change, stable or unstable. So is it changing on human being? If we take one example of development, the ability, movement or motor movement. Is it the motor movement is stable or is it keep changing? You think about it. On the third issue, continuity and discontinuity. On the development of human being, for example, we take on cognitive development. Is it continuous development or is it discontinuity development? So what is your answer? So this has been debated by the expert. So bottom line on the discussion, we get an answer of the conclusion that even though there are issues on the developmental process on these three main issues, nature versus nurture, stable or change, continue or discontinue, but we agree at one point, all this nature and nurture are interrelated. They are go side by side. They are have connection between one another. There are some point it due to biological factors. At another point, another perspective, that development need the environmental factors. So it cannot be separated. Same goes to stable and change. There are some development which are stable in development, gradually develop. But there are some or another part of development, they need change. They need a new development which stop a previous development. So they are connected between stability and change. Depends on the perspective. Same goes continuity and discontinuity. So it's not an issue whereby we can only agree with one side, it continue, or we only can agree on another side, is discontinue. Whereby we can agree at one point, there are some part of development keep continue, and another part of development is discontinue. So development itself, the words is a huge term and words. A lot of development can happen, and all this development can be based on nurture, stability and change, as well as continuity and discontinue. So we all agree at one point and one understanding is interrelated between nature and nurture, as well as stability and change, as well as continuity and discontinuity. So I hope you understand, and together we can explain these crucial issues on developmental issues. So till we meet again, that's all for part 2. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.